WhatsApp 0544321019, 0544321019, and of course I'll read your messages for you. Well, thank you very much once again for choosing us. My name is Nichebi Hammond, and I'll be driving you right from now up until 10 a.m. And we've got quite a number of things coming up for you. Of course, we're going to bring you transport today, looking at the local flight schedules as well as the traffic situation in town this morning, just to help you navigate the capital as we try to run. You know, when we are trying to wrap up the year, sometimes there's a lot of traffic in town. Everybody trying to rush, trying to settle certain things that they have to do, get their final things for the year and all of that. And so there's some sort of traffic in town, and we want to just give you updates on that so that you can know how to navigate that. And of course, we'll bring you the biggest conversation, which is our big roundtable discussion. And today we're looking at planning into your 2026. I'm still living in 2025, but anyway, so looking forward into 2026. What are some of the things that you need to put in place? Because the best time to be able to plan your year is before the year begins. If you wait till the first week of January, I'm sorry, you've already missed it. But of course, you can still make some changes here and there and all of that. But you need to have like a rough plan that you're working with, and that's what we'll be talking about. What are the things that you need to pay attention to? How can you, especially in terms of your finances, because next year is a financial year, and I've been saying that next year is a financial year. Next year your finances must change. If 2025 didn't help you, or 2025 didn't do you so good, 2026 must do something different. And so we're bringing you all of that right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure and business platform. We're going to get into all of that very, very soon. But continue enjoying this one, and we will be right back. this morning. I just want us to look at some of the news making waves and try to see if we can touch on some of them just to keep you updated on exactly what is happening around the country and even beyond, across the country and even beyond. Well, this one on myjoyonline.com, very interesting story. It says that Kaswa, 6-year-old boy, drowns in open water tank while retrieving football. I saw the pictures this morning and it's a sad sight. I wish the family of the bereaved my condolences this morning, and I pray that the boy soul will rest in peace. A 6-year-old boy, a very small boy. I think the ball fell into the tank and he went to pick it up and he got drowned. And also 31st night doom prophecies, be cautious and measured, NPC to prophets. And also Gan West Municipal Assembly shuts down China Mall after building collapse. And also Colonel Festus Abuaje warns against outsourcing African security following US airstrikes in Nigeria. And Sheikh Muniru is the legitimate voter, regional chief imam, national chief imam clarifies. And also ECG can be salvaged. ECG can be salvaged without private investors. TUC Deputy Secretary General says that. And also CD records a year-end rally as diaspora inflows and trade surplus break volatility cycle. And this one also says that we will prosecute persons who do not surrender illegal arms before January 15, and that is coming from Dr. Bona. And also SEC Security Exchange Commission assures investor protection as virtual assets bill comes into force. Let me look at that particular story. I think that it ties directly into the business community and investors and all of that. So let's touch on that briefly. It says that Ghana's Parliament has passed the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill, marking a major step toward the regulation of virtual assets and digital finance activities in the country. Now, in a press release issued on Monday, the Securities and Exchange Commission said the new law establishes a comprehensive legal and regulatory framework to govern virtual assets and the operations of virtual assets service providers in Ghana, with the overarching objective of ensuring investor protection and safeguarding market integrity. Now, according to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the passage of the bill aligns with its statutory mandate to regulate and promote the development of an efficient, fair, and transparent securities market. Now, SEC emphasized that the growing use of virtual assets makes it necessary to introduce clear rules that protect investors while supporting innovation within the financial system. And also, under the new law, regulatory oversight of the virtual assets activities will be shared among key institutions, including the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Bank of Ghana, and any other regulatory authority designated by the Ministry or the Minister of Finance. Now, all individuals and entities engaged in virtual asset activities will be required to obtain license or be officially registered with either the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Bank of Ghana, depending on the nature of their operation. Now, the SEC announced that in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana, it will issue detailed guidelines and other regulatory instruments to operationalize the Act and provide clarity for market operators. Now, for the avoidance of doubts, the Commission stated that it will be responsible for licensing and regulating a wide range of virtual assets under the Act. And these include virtual asset exchanges, trading platforms, virtual asset issuance and tokenization, virtual asset exchange, traded funds, ETFs, virtual asset managers, investment advisors, brokerage services, and advocacy activities related to securities. So that is a story there. I think that is some relevant information that we need to have ahead of the full rollout of the law that has been passed by the bill that has been passed by the Parliament of Ghana. So that is that. Let's look at some other stories also on myjoyonline.com. This one says that Volta Regional Minister urges unity and respect for Chief Imam's ruling after whole Central Mosque shooting. So if you heard of the news, there was some shooting at the whole Central Mosque. I think it's in line with the Imam. Let me just read a portion of that so that you can we can get a sense of exactly what it says. Now, the Volta Regional Minister James Gunu has called for calm and reconciliation following the shooting incident at the Whole Central Mosque on Friday, December 26, which left at least 10 people injured, 2 in critical condition. Now, speaking on Joy News Night, he said the Regional Security Council has engaged both factions involved in the dispute, urging them to give peace a chance. Now, the minister explained that the crisis stems from a long-standing dispute over the Volta Regional Imamship. He noted that his predecessor had been addressing the issue and that he himself wrote to the National Chief Imam on August 9, 2022, and again upon assuming office on April 29, 2025, seeking intervention to clarify the legitimate regional Imam. Now, on November 1, 2025, the Chief Imam visited Ho, met with traditional authorities and members of the Muslim community, and officially declared Sheikh Muniru Ali Mohammed as the Volta Regional Imam. Now, Mr. Gunu emphasized that this declaration aimed to resolve the protracted dispute. Now, the December 26 attack reportedly involved 5 masked assailants who opened fire inside the mosque, creating panic among worshippers. Authorities investigating the incident, which has been linked to the ongoing imamship disagreement. Now, Mr. Gunu appealed to all parties and their supporters to respect the National Chief Imam's decision and pursue peace. And yes, that is the story there. It was quite unfortunate. On 26th, we heard of the shooting in that particular area, and it's quite unfortunate that is happening, especially at a time where we're already facing certain social unrest in some parts of the country. And so we hope that peace is, the factions or the various parties involved actually comply with the Chief Imam's directive and ensure that there's peace in that particular enclave. Some other stories. Let's look at citynewsroom.com. It says a global info analytics post trigger mixed sentiments on improved living standards. Let me read a portion of that as well, and then we move on with our news review. It says that mixed reactions have greeted recent polls on the living conditions of Ghanaians conducted by the Global Info Analytics, even as key economic indicators show signs of improvement. Now, the poll suggests that a majority of Ghanaians believe their standard of living has improved over the past year, reflecting growing optimism following the presentation of the 2026 national budget. Now, according to the survey, 56% of respondents say their standard of living has improved compared to a year ago, while 27% report no change. Only 12% indicate that their living conditions have worsened, with 5% remaining undecided. Now, looking ahead, about 70% of respondents are confident their living standards will improve further in 2026, while 18% remain pessimistic. However, feedback from traders at the La Paz and Kaneshie markets in Accra presents a more cautious picture. While some traders acknowledge a decline in prices, they say sales volumes are yet to recover significantly. Now, a clothing dealer, Grace Monyi, said her cost of living has improved, noting the positive impact on her business. So that the story goes on and on with some of the things that the woman actually said. But let's also hear from you. What is your state of what is your living standard currently? Have you seen some improvements? Because some people actually say that they're not quite seeing the things, the macroeconomic figures that we're talking about reflect in their pockets. So let us know, is it reflecting in your pocket? Yes, let us know what do you think about how government has fared in terms of the economy, and also especially the economy, or mainly the economy, so that we can read your messages for you. Send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, or Facebook. We're streaming live at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Let us know what you also think. If there's actually this is something that you side with, let us know. All right, some other stories there. This one says a driver's mate jailed for stealing phone, 7,000 Ghana cedis at Tema Station. And also Foucault, Sami James Fees response to Gold boards 214 million loss unfortunate. And 31st, deliver prophecy tactfully. NPC 2 prophets. All right. There's also CD post marginal gains as year ends. Year end nears 11.11 pesos. 11 CDs, 11 pesos. And also NIMOS raids Galamsey sites along Brim River, arrest 5 Chinese miners. And Ashanti region, this one says, stay away from drugs and Mako in a warns youth. And also Yusuf Suleiman, a land key to sustainable development. And also China Mall temporarily, Amasaman China Mall temporarily closed after section collapse. And also those are some of the stories. And yesterday, some devastating news in Nigeria. Anthony Joshua, the boxer, actually got involved in an accident. And let me see if I can find that story and just read a portion of that. All right, so it says that 2-time world heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua has been involved in a car crash in Nigeria that reportedly claimed 2 lives. Now, according to Nigeria's Punch newspaper, the Lexus SUV carrying Joshua collided with a stationary truck on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway at Makun in Ogun State. And the report included the vehicle's registration number and photographs showing Joshua seated in the back of the damaged vehicle and shattered glass. Now, the 36-year-old boxer, whose parents are Nigerian, is said to have sustained minor injuries, while 2 other occupants died at the scene. Investigations into the cause of the crash are going on, and an eyewitness, Adeniyi Orojo, who was part of the rescue effort, recounted the incident to Punch. And Joshua is currently on holiday in Nigeria following his victory over Jake Paul in Miami on December 19, where he stopped the former YouTuber in the 6th round of the bout at the Kaseya Center. The London 2012 Olympic gold medalist is expected to return to the ring after in either February or March, with a potential summer showdown with retired heavyweight Tyson Fury still being discussed. So that is a story there, quite unfortunate. And I've seen a lot of people actually make comments on social media talking about the way people just park on our road. Sometimes the road is very small and they park on one side, because that's exactly what happened in this particular case. There was this truck that was parked on the side of the road, and I think the driver didn't see it and just collided into that or crashed into that, and that is exactly what happened. So there are certain parts of our country, of our roads, that we just park all kinds of trucks there, which is unfortunate. And I've seen people talk about that and complain bitterly about it. So maybe we can look at some of these things. Whilst these things are happening, we also check our backyard and make sure that we're doing the right thing, because this could have happened to anybody. But there are 2 gentlemen that I think one of them is his coach, and then the other is his best friend or so. That's what I heard. Yes, may their souls rest in peace, and we wish Joshua a speedy recovery from any injuries that he sustained at the end of the day. So those are some of the stories. Let me look at some other. All right, so I think that will be all. Or the international front, let me just touch on some stories on the international front, and then we can get into transport today. Solomon Tetenate is ready to bring us all of that this morning right here on the Business Breakfast on Zed. Let's look at CNN. It says the CIA carried out drone strike on port facility on Venezuelan coast, and also takeaways from Trump and Netanyahu's meeting. After 2 years of war, some Israelis are moving to the Gaza border while others are refusing. And also Ukraine denies Russian claim that drone attack targeted one of Putin's residences. And also this one says that Americans in 1998 tried to predict 2025. And also this one says that on BBC, says that Russia's losses in Ukraine rise faster than ever as US pushes for peace deal. And also Trump hopes to reach phase 2 of Gaza ceasefire very quickly. And Fegal Kien says that I've seen firsthand how growing up in war really affects a child. And Trump says US hits big facility linked to alleged Venezuelan drug boats. And on Bloomberg, Trump's Ukraine plan faces new obstacle after Putin call and also Citi to take 1.1 billion US dollars loss on Russian business unit sale, and also Spanish inflation at 3% backs case for ECB rates holding settings, and also Japan's topics closes at record year and high, surpassing 1989. And also Thai tourism takes hits as strong, but war compounds and China fears. All right, so those are some of the stories making waves this morning. We continue our show. If you want some more news, you can visit www.zmultimedia.com and you can get some more news on our platforms. Yes, so those are some. That's how we wrap up on our news review segment this morning. Up next is Transport Today with Solomon Tetenate. Please stay tuned.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 3728.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, thank you very much. Solomon Tetenate is ready to bring us Transport Today. Solo, it's a saying.
Yeah, Nyamiadum, Hoyapa.
Yeah. And then country now. It's a phone, so
gradually, yeah, bay afro.
Absolutely, yeah. Just maybe say we see a country.
Yeah, gradually we are preaching.
Yes. Today's 30th, so just one more day, and then we have to. The Lord has been good.
Very.
I was saying that earlier.
Very.
The Lord has been good to us.
Very, very
and
good.
I know that everybody can attest to the fact that actually the fact that you even have life alone means that actually God has been good to you. Yes.
Some people too are saying God of the 11th hour. Do something before we
do
end.
Something last minute show man. Oh no, God is actually a last minute show man. Sometimes you expect certain things to happen. They never do until the last minute.
I know, right?
It comes through. Then you know that there is God.
There's
this
God.
one, you know that Charlie. This one, if it's not God. I'm expecting some last minute show man. Last minute show tomorrow. I'm expecting something.
But do you know, I saw a certain post on social media and I was really, hit with that post actually. And I was surprised. I was like, this is a different thing that I've seen, over some years now.
Right.
And it will amaze you. The person was praying for, other people. And this was the prayer that the person was actually praying. He says that, Father, you have done enough for me. My prayer is that you answer other people's prayers this time around. Amen. I was like, whoa, they serious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Because, typically people are selfish.
Exactly.
When we go to God, it's about you, yourself, your family, and things. And the things that you're doing.
Said, you've done enough for me. Answer other people's prayer.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
But people have all kinds of things that they're going through, and sometimes you look at your situation. No matter how you think that your situation is bad, you hear other people's stories, and you're like, "Oh God, please do."
You even get motivated.
Exactly.
With their story.
Yeah. And you ask God to do it for them because, Charlie, you know that whatever you are going through, cry is small. Yeah.
It's true.
So I pray that God comes through for people.
For
there are
people,
people that
yeah.
are really looking for some
you.
big breakthrough.
I tell you.
Some people are also looking for very tiny
Tiny
things.
thing.
Something small.
And yesterday I attested to the fact that you mentioned the last time that even if you have to even send something small to someone, it's good to do that, because you have no idea what the person needs at this time. And trust me, yesterday someone reached out to me and I was shocked. So this, and it's amazing. You may think that it's nothing, but it goes a long way.
It means a lot to other
for the
people,
person,
right?
And that's what we should do this time.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're trying to wrap up the year, so if you're listening to us, that's our call to you. Maybe you might not know, somebody might be going through some things. Just tell them something. Just extend a hand, wish them well. Just give them a listening ear. These are some of the things that actually go a long way to touch people. You know, I was reading something on social media too on my way to work, and it's about somebody who has lost the parents. I mean, for over 10 months, but the reality just hits her now, and
maybe there are some things they used to do for him or him around this time.
Exactly. And when you look at their comments, you know that a lot of people are going through all kinds of things. People have relatable stories. If you've not lost a loved one before, you might not know.
You won't understand.
Yes, but unfortunately, I lost a loved one too on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
My condolences.
My uncle. Yes, so
That's sad.
I mean, but of course, anyway. So,
but me, before I even start with the transport today, there's something that bothers me. I don't know. Madina Zongo Junction. That's over the years, people have been crossing the road without using the footbridge. And recently, authorities, put things in place, and you could see that they have done some pedestrian fencing, so that people cannot cross.
Right.
And as of now, people are still crossing without using the footbridge. I was like,
are they breaking down the fencing?
No. So they pass, they try to meander their way through, the fence and then cross.
Is it laziness?
I
don't
know.
Sheer carelessness?
This one, I was just asking myself, is it a mindset or something? Like, I don't understand.
It's probably a mindset problem, because why would there be a footbridge? Something that is supposed to help you, because that's a highway.
Yeah,
that's a highway. So that's why there's a footbridge for you to cross. And if you don't cross a footbridge and you want to cross the streets, I don't think it's. I don't think if you don't use a footbridge, I don't think it is right. I don't know whether it's laziness, because some people say that they have to go and it's quite long anyway.
It means that your life is going to be important to you.
Yeah, you're looking at cutting corners.
Serious.
I think it's gradually becoming a Ghanaian thing. We always want to find some small way around certain things. Some shortcuts. And if you go through shortcuts, you cut your life short.
It's true.
So it's very important that we look at that. But maybe we have to probably look at having conversation on that properly.
So if you are listening to us, please try and use the footbridge.
Use a footbridge. Exactly.
Use the footbridge. Yeah.
All right.
So let me take you through the flight schedules for today, and also I'll be taking you through some stories actually trending in the aviation sector. So I'm starting with the flight schedules, and I'm starting with Passion Air Accra to Kumasi. So Passion Air Accra to Kumasi morning schedules are 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. 6:20 a.m., 8:50 a.m. and 11:20 a.m. Afternoon schedules are 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. 1:50 p.m. and 4:20 p.m. And then the evening schedule is at 7:20 p.m. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Takoradi Passion Air morning schedule is at 6:20 a.m. and then afternoon schedule is at 4:20 p.m. Morning schedule 6:20 a.m. Afternoon schedule is at 4:20 p.m. and it takes 50 minutes to get to your destination. Accra to Sunyani Passion Air has only one flight available for the day at 9:10 a.m. and it takes 1 hour to get to your destination. There's no flight available for Accra to Wa Passion Air, so you should take note of that. Accra to Tamale morning schedule is at 6 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. Morning schedule 6 a.m. Afternoon schedules 12:20 p.m. and 4 p.m. and it takes 1 hour 20 minutes to get to your destination. So that's for Passion Air. Now let's look at Africa World Airlines. Now Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi morning schedules are 6:20 a.m. 8:40 a.m. and 9:40 a.m. 6:20 a.m. 8:40 a.m. and 9:40 a.m. Afternoon schedules are 2:10 p.m. and 3:10 p.m. 2:10 p.m. and 3:10 10 p.m. And then the evening schedule is at 7 p.m. It takes 40 minutes to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Takra, the Africa World Airlines morning schedule is at 6:40 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:20 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. Morning schedule 6:40 a.m. Afternoon schedule for 12:20 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. and it takes 40 minutes as well to get to your destination. Now, Accra to Tamale, Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale morning schedules are 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. and then afternoon schedules are 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. So these are the local flight schedules for today. Now let's look at the traffic situation in town, and there are some pockets of traffic in the capital. So I will be taking you through some areas that you are likely to experience traffic at this moment. So currently there's traffic on the Dr. Busia Highway at Malam Junction, so you should take note of that if you are using that stretch, and also Enya Awushi Road, where the ash foam depot is located. There's also traffic at that area, so you should take note of that. And on Twina Street, there's also traffic on that stretch heading towards Odoko, so you should also take note of that. So that's the traffic situation around that area. Now let's come to Achimota. There's traffic at Achimota Old Station bus stop, so you should take note of that. It's not that intense, but it's building up slowly, so it might get busy any moment from now. So that's the traffic update around that area. At Dorme Market, there's also traffic at where the KFC is located at Dorme Market, heading towards the Dorme Old Station bus stop, so you should also take note of that if you are using that route at the moment. And now let's come to Kotobabi. There's traffic on at where the Tang Palace Hotel is located, heading towards Mambobi. So that's also the traffic situation around that area. Gifford Road is also very busy at the moment, so you should also take note of that. Heading towards Burma Camp, you have to experience traffic on that stretch, so you should take note, especially where the Embassy Gardens is located. So that's the traffic situation for you today. Now let's look at some stories trending in the aviation sector. So travel disruption across Europe has escalated as major airports in Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, and UK, France, Switzerland, Australia, Denmark, Norway, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Poland are grappling with severe flight delays and cancellations. So the latest data shows that a total of 4,145 flights were delayed and 40 flights were cancelled, causing widespread chaos for passengers throughout their phones when driving at this season. So they have a campaign going on saying that text call can wait, your life can't, so keep your eyes on the road, not on your phone. And there's a campaign that they are running for this season, so you should be cautious when driving and don't drink and drive. Thank you so much, Ni, for having me.
All right, thank you very much, Solomon Tetenati, for bringing us transport today. Well, the show continues. We're going to get into a big conversation this morning very, very soon. But we'll take a quick music break, and when we return, we get into all of that. Please don't go anywhere. Enjoy Akon's beautiful day, and we will be right back. As we step into a new year, a lot of us are full of hope, plans, and big resolutions. But before the year really gets busy, there's one important question we need to ask ourselves. Are we actually ready financially for 2026? And I want to ask you this morning, are you actually ready financially for 2026? Now, for individuals and for businesses, this year comes with both opportunities and real challenges. I mean, the cost of living is kind of high. Some people actually think it is too high. Others think it is okay. Income is changing, and the financial decisions we make early can actually affect how the rest of the year goes for us. And this is why this conversation matters. And this morning we are talking about smart money moves to start 2026 strong. And we'll look at how to plan realistically, how to save and invest wisely, how to manage your debt, and maybe how to even explore additional income streams. And we'll also talk about how technology can help you stay in control of your money instead of confusing us. And I'm joined now by Mr. Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji. He is with Melbourne Capital, and he joins me this morning for this conversation. Good morning, Nelson. You're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Zed. Sorry, I think hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
All right. Thanks so much for making time to join us. We're really grateful. So let's get into our conversation. Of course, we're talking about smart money moves, some of the things that we have to do to start 2026 strong, especially financially. Now, many people actually wait until pressure hits before they take their finances seriously. As we step into a new year, let's start with timing. Why does planning early matter, and what advantages or what advantage does it give individuals and businesses?
Thank you very much once again. I think that planning is very important, even at the governmental level. Government normally presents the budget for the national economy for the ensuing fiscal year, detailing the expenditure the government intends to incur, and also the sources of revenue the government wants to use in order to finance those expenditure. When you come to businesses level, businesses, some companies even go outside the office. They do what we call strategic meeting, strategic session in order to plan for the next, financial year, in order for them to have their costs under control and also determine how they can maximize their revenue for the following year. And so at the household level, so it is very important that we also plan ahead and know the kind of expenses that we will incur the following year, the sources of the cash inflow that we expect to finance those expenditure. It is important because once you are able to plan, you can have full control over your expenditure and also identify certain expenditures that you think are not necessary. Because as household, when you go into the expenditure, you realize that generally there are three categories of expenditure. We have the fixed expenditure, which we incur every month, for instance, on rent. You also have variable expenditure, for instance, on groceries. And you have some irregular expenditure, things that we just see online that are not traditionally, typically part of our expenditure. And so once you're able to plan, you have control over those expenditures and make sure that you buy those that you actually need and not those that you just want for, let's say, fashion sake or just to put it in your room. So planning is very important. It helps you to have control over the expenditure, and it also helps you to identify the sources from which your income will be coming from.
Right. So you speaking about planning generally. How about this time? Why is it better to put in place those plans? Some people are waiting for 2026 before they start planning. Why is this time very crucial?
Well, it is very important because a lot of expenditures are incurred during this period. Don't forget that Christmas is a period, aunties out there, you have your children, your wives. And so it is important to plan at this time, because if you don't plan, you may end up spending everything you have at this time. And when you get to January, somebody said January is always 59 months. It doesn't end. And so if you don't plan in the month of December and cut down on some unnecessary expenditure, when we enter the month of January, it is always difficult. And so this is the time to plan, and not when we enter into the month of January.
Right. Okay. Before we look at exactly what people should be paying attention to or how the plan should be for next year, I believe strongly that every year leaves out with financial lessons. I mean, some painful, some rewarding, and what have you. So before setting new goals for 2026, what are some of the reflections, or what reflections should people honestly make about this year?
Okay. We always do what we call analysis in time and analysis in space. I mean, you have to compare what you have done the previous year, compare what you have done this year, then you can make a meaningful, deduction. Now, I mean, if you are somebody who your income stream is only one, that'll be very difficult, because every now and then things are changing, and so you cannot rely on only one income stream. So that should be a factor that you should take into consideration. This year, I have solely dependent on my salary. The salary is not enough. It is not sustainable. It is only from hand to mouth. Now, going into next year, what else can I do in order to, earn additional income? And so that should be a consideration in terms of expenditure. And in terms of income, then in terms of expenditure, you must also ask yourself, what were some of the expenses that I have paid for or incurred during this current year that, in your opinion, you think are not really, really relevant? And once you're able to identify those expenditures, then it serves as a baseline that, okay, when I enter next year, I should be careful as to the kind of expenses that I incur. So it is important to make these deductions. If not, you enter into next year with the same level of appetite for spending, when actually your income does not support those expenditures.
Are there any other areas, I think, like debts or something?
Yes, of course. I mean, a reason why I started by saying that you need to know your income stream, you need to know your expenditure. Then when your income is way more than your expenditure, then you are good to go. But to the extent that your expenditure is more than your revenue, it means that you have to go and borrow. Now, for borrowing, you can get it from various sources, either from family, either from friends, either from the banks. And that also means that the following year, you'll be paying interest costs on the loans that you have taken. Of course, if you take the loan from your friends and family, they may not be interested in taking the interest, depending on how the negotiation went. However, if you take it from a typical financial institution, they are in business to make profit. And so you will be compelled to be paying your principal plus interest as an installment, and that is going to impact negatively on your income.
Yeah.
And so if your income is not enough and you are overburdened with debt, then it means that your situation will worsen. And so when it comes to issues of debt, it is always advisable that if you don't need it, don't go in for it. Some will say, oh, the interest is so low, I can take it and buy this and that. However, the impact of the repayment is always problematic. And so if you don't need that particular credit, don't go in for it.
I see. So those are some of the things that we have to look at in 2025 before we begin to plan for 2026. You talk about income streams, and I'm going to come back to that very soon. Maybe you're going to tell us exactly what are some of the, what some other income streams people can be looking at, practical ones that they can be looking at going into the year 2026. But people actually often set ambitious goals that don't survive beyond January. You know, what exactly separates a wish from a workable financial goal, especially given today's economic realities?
That's a very difficult one. I mean, you see, yes, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we all go to church. We make so many wishes. We pray to God that this and this and this is what we want to do. However, the first question that we ask ourselves is, do we have the capacity to undertake? I mean, some of those things. Somebody says, okay, fine, you pray, God will intervene. Yes, we are all Christians, we believe in that. However, if you don't have the capacity, the physical capacity to undertake whatever project that you want to do, you may not be able to do it. And again, even if you have the capacity, one of the things that may play a critical role is discipline. You get to understand that somebody said, okay, this year I have to go back to school. The person will say, okay, because most of the schools, they sell their admission forms sometimes 2 times or 3 times during the year. I may not go during the first admission session. So I'll go for it. By the time you realize first quarter has ended. Now, when first quarter has ended, then the second quarter has started. You get to realize that the days are just moving further. You say, okay, let me push it to next year. Next year, I'll start. So discipline is key. If you are not disciplined, even if you have the capacity and you are not disciplined, you are not committed, you are not focused, you are not goal-oriented, I mean, you keep on postponing all the projects that you have, every year. For which is everybody, I mean, can wish anything, but the capacity, the discipline, the commitment, the focus, I mean, it's key in accomplishing some of these things.
I see. Interestingly, a few minutes before our conversation, I was checking something and I saw a post by somebody, and he says that he was actually praying to God. He says that, Lord, help me so that this year I won't expect a miracle when I'm supposed to be disciplined. So it's interesting how you're talking about the same thing. Some of us expect miracles. We're expecting God to come through for us in several ways, when indeed we have to put in the work to make everything happen. And that hits me right hard, because there have been things that I've actually pushed to next year, which I should have done this year. So thank you very much. Maybe I'll be more intentional going forward. I'm really grateful. And I'm sure our listeners are also taking a thing or two from whatever we are sharing. Now, let's look at this one as well. Now, some people actually try to save, they try to invest, and even start a business or even clear all their debt at the same time. Is this a wise thing to do, or does focus matter in this more than ambition?
Okay, so now when you look at financial management cycle, it begins with income generation. After income generation, the next thing that comes is expenditure or expenses. The next thing that comes after expenses is savings. Then the next thing that comes after savings is investment. And the last one is protection, or what I call insurance.
Please take us through them again.
All right. So the first one is you generate your income. So your income, then somebody is okay, when the money comes, I have to expend. So then the expenses comes in. Then after the expenses, when your income is more than your expenses, then you have a surplus. So you can have something to save.
Okay.
Then after your savings, then you must also think of investment.
Okay.
Then after investment, of course, you drive a car, you have to pay insurance. So you have to, what you call protection or insurance.
Right.
So this is a typical generic personal financial management cycle. Now, when you look at this cycle, somebody can say, okay, when the income comes, I have to go straight forward and do investment. So I'm putting 10% of my income in investments. For investment, it's a bit of a long term or short, medium to long term.
Okay, yeah.
So somebody can say, okay, fine. Let me also put something aside in form of savings. So the person will go and open a savings account in a bank and be putting money, or even Susu box, or put the money down. And then whatever is left, I will now begin to spend in terms of my normal expenditure. And of course, take care of protection.
Yeah.
Now, the decision as to what to do after income generation is dependent on the individual. So what I just mentioned is something that I will do. That as soon as the money comes, I'll go in and do investment. Then I'll put something aside for unforeseen contingencies. And then whatever is left, then I'll share it among my expenses. Somebody can also say, okay, fine, as soon as the money comes, I am owing. Now, if it is a bank, you have two options. Either to continue with your monthly installment payment, which will form part of your expenses, or you can also decide to, go and pay off your debt one-off and be free. So at the end of the day, these are personal decisions that the individual must make based on his circumstances at the time that he's making the decision. And so you paying off your debt one time off is a personal decision. You're trying to invest part of your money before you even think of your expenditure. It's also a personal decision.
Okay.
So this is how the personal financial management cycle where there are certain nitty-gritties, but generally this is how it works. So some of these decisions are personal decisions. maybe at the time that you want to do the investment, the person from whom you borrow the money from is chasing you, which means that that month you may not be able to do the investment. You rather go and pay off your debt. You get it.
Yeah.
And so it's a personal decision to be taken based on the cycle.
I see. So which one would you advise that is the best to go with?
Well, one of the problems or difficulties that we have as a working class in Ghana is our, investment decision. You see, the money is not even enough. Imagine you are living in Accra, you are in a rented apartment and all that. The money is not enough. But the thing too is that little drops of water makes a mighty ocean.
Right.
If you say you will not invest or because the money is not enough, it means that you are not building any buffer in case of any emergency.
True.
And it is always unwise to always spend everything that you earn at the end of the month, and then by 20th, 21st, all your salary is gone and you are waiting for the next month and that. No matter how meager the salary is, you must always try as much as possible, to put something aside. And that is how you can grow financially. And so even if it is 250 cedis or 300 cedis you are saving every month, by the end of the year, you can have something to rely on. And if you do that over a period of 3, 4, 5 years, it becomes a habit. And so you know that certainly when the salary comes, this money must go into, this investment. Some people even place a standing order on their account. They will tell their bankers that, okay, when my salary comes, please deduct 2,000 cedis every month or 1,000 cedis every month and buy treasury bill for me. And so as soon as the money comes, the bank will quickly deduct it and then they'll use it to buy the bill for you. So I will always advise that the first point or the first thing to do when your salary hits your account is to place something in investment.
Okay.
Then when you place something in investment, then you now begin with your expenses. And even that, if it is possible, that you still put something into savings. Savings in the sense that, anything at all can happen at any time. Something that will be a low-hanging fruit that you can lay your hands on. You can put something small in investment, then you start your, incurring or paying for your expenses.
Okay. Wow.
So I will take it from income to investment to savings. Then, your expenditure will now come.
Right. Okay. And then protection is still last?
Yes. Well, the protection, because it's not everybody who pays for insurance, in this country. If you don't have a car, you cannot pay for your comprehensive or third party. Or maybe any other insurance package that you want to take because there is an unforeseen probability that there is a risk that is, so you need to protect against it. If you are having a small shop that you are a sole proprietor and then you are into selling of provisions, you should take an insurance to cover your shop. So these are some of the things that you need to do.
Okay.
But for me, that should be the last because it is not everybody who has to pay insurance at the end of every month or periodically.
Okay. Right. We're going to stay on savings for a few minutes. I want to just understand a few things and ask a few questions around that. But please hold on for me. Let me just announce the phone lines in case anybody's listening to us and they want to join the conversation. Please, you're allowed to do that. Your comments are welcome. You can send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 050303956641, 0303956641, or you can also drop a comment under our live stream. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment and I will read your messages for you. If you have a question, Nelson is here to answer all of that for to begin their financial plans in the year. The new year. But this time, one will just encourage you to do that before we get into the year. Nelson says that is actually the way to go so that you can look at all the things and then you can begin very, very well. So that's what we're talking about this morning. And my guest is Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji is with Meban Capital and he is helping us have this conversation this morning. Please do well to send me your comments, send me your questions, and I'll read them for you. Okay. So, Nelson, let's continue the conversation.
Yes.
Now, there's actually a growing belief that saving means suffering. You know, is it possible to enjoy life and still build financial security? And how can people strike that balance?
Oh, yes. Why not? I mean, you can still enjoy life. I mean, whilst you also try to save something. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's all dependent on how much you are earning and the kind of lifestyle you want to live. You see, there is a saying in the local parlance that you must always cut your coat according to, I mean, your clothes or your means. I mean, you cannot spend when you don't have. So to the extent that you are saving doesn't mean that you are going to suffer. I believe that lifestyle is very important. I mean, you don't try to impress anybody by living a lifestyle that will, you know, to the detriment of you preparing for your future. And so I don't support or I don't share in that you know, saying. You see, yes, we all agree that salaries or compensations generally in Ghana is not really at par with international standard. I mean, here we work for 30 days before salaries are paid. But in other jurisdictions, I mean, salaries or compensations are paid every 2 weeks or even sometimes on hourly basis and that kind of thing. But here in Ghana, it's 30 days. So when the money comes before the 30 days has even elapsed, the money is even finished. But I always believe that it is important. I mean, to the extent that you live, you breathe, you are prone to any sickness or whatever, it is always good, I mean, to save towards that day. Because I've always been telling my friends that, see, you cannot put your trust in any person because the fact that the person dresses well, drives a nice car and all that doesn't mean that financially the person is stable. And so the day you will call the person for an assistance, it could also mean that the person is also facing a challenge or a difficulty at that time.
Right.
And so it is always good that on personal basis, we try to, as much as possible, no matter how meager the salary is, we try to save something. That doesn't mean that you must also suffer, I mean, because you are working, and so you should also try to, I mean, enjoy yourself. However, you must try to strike a balance between the two. I believe that one of the issues that is actually affecting the current generation has to do with what they see on social media.
The pressure.
You see, exactly. And so, I mean, because they see somebody posting nice pictures on social media, they think that, oh, that is it. And so they also try to actually burn the kind of the little savings they have just to impress people on social media. I mean, that shouldn't be the case. You must always try to live within your means and then save towards that day, because you may not know. You will get there and Charlie, you'll be very hot. So I don't share in that saying that, oh, I mean, you will suffer or your lifestyle will suffer some way, somehow, when you are saving part of your salary. I don't think I will share in that ideology. We must always try to live within our means. If you are earning 5,000, you cannot go and rent in East Legon. I mean, that is practically impossible, unless, of course, there is another source of income or revenue. So that is what I'll say about that.
Okay, so it's possible to strike that balance, and
yes,
by living within your
very
means,
possible.
You'll be able to do that. Now, almost everyone actually wants to save. I mean, I know that quite a number of people want to save, but yet, I mean, many of them still fail to follow through. What are the real reasons behind this struggle, and how can people fix that practically?
Well, as I said, it has to do with the discipline that we were talking about initially. You see, for the expenses, they are there. But if you want to save, you have to be disciplined to do it. If your money is paid through a bank account and you know that as soon as you go in for the money, Charlie, everything will bend, why don't you put a standing order on your account? Why don't you give an instruction to your bank that, hey, when the money comes, please deduct this from my account and use it to, buy this instrument for me. So that when you walk to the bank, whatever you go and take, you know effectively that, yes, I've put something aside, and so I can use this one for my expenses. I think that savings and investment has to do more with discipline. It has to do more with discipline and intentionality, because you are saving towards a particular purpose. And so if you are not intentional about it, every year every month, I mean, you end up expending everything that you earn at the end of the month. And so I think that the challenge that we've all had, I mean, it happens to us all the time, has to do with discipline and intentionality. If we are disciplined and intentional about the purpose for which we want to save or invest, I think that it should be easy for all of us to do that.
All right. Let's move on to investments. I mean, the start of the year, it often comes with some excitement and the pressure to put some money aside. I mean, invest quickly. What errors should people avoid so that they don't lose money before even the year gains momentum?
Well, can you repeat the question again? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, essentially what I'm asking is that what investment mistakes do people commonly make at the beginning of the year? And which ones, I mean, how can they avoid them? Yeah.
Sure. And so, you see, if you are not a finance person, before you make any investment decision, you need to, consult those who are actually in the industry. Because investment is not just about a matter of going to an investment bank and say, good morning, I want to invest. I mean, there are certain basic tips that you have to be given in order for you to appreciate. For instance, if you are somebody who needs money, you have the money now, but you will need it back in 3 months' time, it is always advisable that you go and buy a shorter dated instrument. But if you have money and you say, okay, I need this money in about 2 years, 3 years' time, and then your advisor will tell you, okay, looking at the performance on the Ghana Stock Exchange, I'll recommend this and this and this stock or shares for you. And so to the extent that you don't have the financial advice, it is always prudent that you approach those who are in the industry so that they can guide you, so that they can coach you as to the best investment decisions to make. But then if you go and just say, okay, I want to do this investment, at the end of the day, if it doesn't go on well, then it becomes a bit problematic. And so these are some of the mistakes that they do. We must always consult those who are in the industry so that they can guide and coach us as to the best instruments to go for.
So you need to do your due diligence and also engage some people. Now, but I know that you can still offer some advice when it comes to investment. And I know that not every investment is for everyone. Like you said, different kinds of needs will require you to put your money into different kinds of things. How can an individual assess what truly works for them? Instead of following trends, people say today maybe T-bills are doing well, everybody's just jumping on that, or this other instrument is doing well, let's all move there. How can people actually assess what truly works for them?
Yes, so that is where you when you approach your stockbroker or you approach the bank that will buy the instrument for you, you actually tell them what you want. Okay, you tell them what you want because there is always a trade-off between risk and return. And so you tell them exactly what you want. Then based on what you want, then they can sort of try to profess a solution to you. As I did indicate, there are some people who don't like taking risk. When you go to the stock market, the payment of dividend or the appreciation of the listed company share, some way somehow is dependent on the performance of that particular company. And so when the company is doing very well, I mean, they will declare dividend to be paid, the stock's value will appreciate, you get your capital gains and all that. So it depends on what you want. But if you are somebody who doesn't like risk, then you want to go in for the fixed income. I mean, the bonds are there, the treasury bills are there, the fixed deposits are there. I mean, all those fixed income instruments. And so you still have to consult so that they will know, your stockbroker or advisor will know what will best work for you. But if you don't tell them, they will just do the generic thing, look at the market, because at the end of the day, they also want to earn some small fees on the investment. And so they also look at which one will be good for you and which one will be good for them. And so as to what will work for you is dependent on what you want, your level of risk appetite, your liquidity preference, and in fact, a lot of factors to be taken into consideration when you tell them what exactly you want. It's a bit complicated, especially if you are not in that domain, because if you should give me 1 million this morning, I will construct a very nice portfolio for you. I will say, okay, let's do this, let's do a bit of this, let's do a bit of this. But if you are not, a finance person, in finance, we call something diversification. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. And so you just go and use your money to go and buy bonds, and at the end of the day, there'll be a haircut.
Yeah.
And so it will be good that you consult, you approach the right people, and then they can advise you as to.
All right, that's great, and I think that will be it for investments. Let's talk about lifestyle inflation. I know that when people begin to earn more, their spending often rises. I mean, just as fast. How does lifestyle inflation, because how does that quietly undermine financial growth, and how can it be controlled? I don't know if you get a question.
Yes. So what you have just said, people are earning a lot of money.
Yeah.
There is so much money in the system. They are expending. They are spending the money, and so that can engender inflation. And inflation, when inflation goes up, it's not something that is good for individuals. It's not good for businesses, and it's not even good for the economy in general, because it drives away even investors. And so that is why the central bank is there to actually monitor the temperature of the economy.
Yeah.
And if the temperature of the economy is very high, then they have the appropriate tools to absorb excess liquidity from the system. And so when it happens that way, then it also means that you have to cut down on your expenditure in order to drive down on inflation. And so these are purely monetary decisions that central banks often do. When they monitor that the temperature of the economy is too high, they intervene by way of mopping excess liquidity in order to cut down on expenditure to drive down on inflation.
Right. Okay. So very important. It's a very important thing that we need to look at. Let's move on to even spending habits. Many people actually equate financial discipline with deprivation. How does smart spending go beyond cutting expenses and actually improve financial health? How does that work?
Well, I like the word you use, smart spending. Smart spending. You see, we have already established that generally an individual expenditure can be categorized into three. We have the fixed one. Your landlord will be chasing you, so you have to pay. The only one that you have control over is your variable expenditure and the irregular expenditure. And so by spending in a smart way, what it means is that you don't just see anything online and place the order. By spending in a smart way, it means that you have to try as much as possible to cut down on costs. Even businesses is one of our key targets, to cut down on costs and also to maximize revenue. And so, and so when you want to expend or you want to spend money, you have to ask yourself a few questions. Do I really need this at this moment? Okay.
Yeah.
Do I have to incur this cost on this item? And if you get answers to this question, then you know whether to go in for the thing or not. I know people who use these three phones at the same time. Then you ask yourself, what do they actually need those two phones for? Every year and then, the higher version of iPhones are being released. Somebody will be holding 15, 16, 17. What are you using it for? That is not smart spending.
Yeah.
And so once you are spending in a smart way, what it also means is that you are cutting down on your expenditure, and we are also having excess liquidity or cash that you can, place into an investment or savings. And so smart spending is very, very, very important. In business cycles, we always talk about minimization of cost. We try as much as possible to minimize cost in order to enhance our bottom line. And so at the individual level, too, smart spending is key. Once you are spending smartly, you can have some surplus cash that you can put aside for something else.
So typically, how can people spend smartly?
It depends on the individual's preference. As I did indicate, I cannot be having 3 phones at a go when I know that I only need 1 phone for my course and everything. So if you don't need it, don't purchase it. If you don't have a need for it, don't go in for it. Okay. Even in the house, there are certain things that we don't really need, but because of fashion and because of pressure, or you go and see it in somebody's apartment, you also want to get it. Once you are doing that, you are putting a financial strain on your income. And so if you don't need it, simply don't go in for it.
Okay. If you don't need it, simply don't go in for it. Now, let's touch on debts for a few minutes, and then we can now talk about some other things. Now, debt is often seen as either completely bad or totally unavoidable. Should people avoid it entirely? And is there a smarter way to manage debt responsibly?
Well, I mean, people go in for debt for so many reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go in for debt to buy an asset. I mean, which is good. If you need it, you get it. People go in for debt for so many reasons. But the problem is that before the banks will also give you that debt, they also have to check what you technically call a debt service ratio, or what public sector workers normally call affordability. Do you have the capacity to pay your debt on monthly basis? Do you have the ability? Do you have the cash or the liquidity to be servicing your repayment every month? I think that for debt, if you don't need it for anything, don't go in for it. But most especially for public sector workers, they may want to go in for the debt to buy an asset for using, I mean, in the house. That's why sometimes it makes sense, because you don't have the money to go and buy it at once. And so something that can cost, let's say, 12,000, can be bought, I mean, with these credit malls and all these institutions in town, and the payment to be spread over a period of time. That makes a lot of sense, even though sometimes those ones too, they are a bit expensive. Once you need it, you go in for it. But the thing about that is that sometimes it can choke you. It can choke you in a sense that if you don't take time, you default on your payment. And when you default on your payment, penalties comes in, interest comes in. And if it goes to the extreme, I mean, police may also be involved and the court may also be involved. And so it is always prudent that for the debt, if you don't need it, don't go in for it, because when it chokes you, then, I mean, there'll be a whole lot of issues.
Okay. Right. So, I mean, people have to be careful if they are going in for debt. All right. I mentioned earlier that we're going to touch on the income streams that are most practical for the average person right now. I know that cost of living is somewhere up there a little. People are relying on single income sources, which is quite risky. What realistic side income options can people explore in the coming year? I don't know if you have any you may want to share.
So, I mean, in terms of the income stream, apart from your employment income, which is the salaries, you can also be looking at your investment income. You see, because the salary comes, you instructed the bank to be deducting 2,000 cedis every month to be buying treasury bill or stocks for you. Over a period of time, you'll be receiving your regular, interest or coupons. So that will also serve as another, revenue stream for you. That is investment income. If you buy stocks periodically, the listed companies also pay dividends. And so investment income is one of the sources that they can be looking at. Then another source has to do with business income. I mean, maybe you are running a business in addition to your employment that you do. You are running some small business. I mean, that can also serve as a source of income for you. I mean, generally in Ghana, we talk about employment income, we talk about investment income, and we talk about business income. Now, the question is, what kind of business are we looking at here? Because as an average worker, before you can set up a company, you need a heavy capital outlay. And so if it is an SME, how much do you intend to generate? So you see that money that comes, you put some into investment. Over a period of time, you can go in for that money, your investment. to actually start a small business, then you still continue with your investment again, which means that if you are disciplined, focused, and intentional, in the next 5 years that you start this whole thing, you'll be still continue to earn your salary, your employment income. You will still continue to get your investment income, and then you still continue to get your, get something from your business income. And so these are some of the smart ways of going about it. But depending on just employment income salaries in this economy, I think it will be very challenging. Unless you are top there where, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So that is. But talking about business, are there some businesses that people can start? I know that is not why you are here, but
yes.
Just in case you have any ideas, you could just
it will
throw
be
to people.
difficult at this moment to actually say this business or this business is something that people can go with. But what I've noticed of late is that a lot of the young people are going into farming, especially poultry farming. That is something that I've noticed. I mean, recently the government implemented the Akukon Kitinkiti program where those chicks will be distributed to people for, because the government intends to cut down significantly on the importation of chicken. So, agric is one of the areas that a lot of young guys are actually going in. You know, agriculture, you don't have to even be in the farm yourself and be working there. But once you have some people out there, the only thing you have to do is to monitor them so that the right thing will be done. I also know people are into cultivation of vegetables. A lot these days, especially the young ones. And so these are some of the areas. But before you can set up a business, a lot of consideration will go into it, because you need to know the customer base, you need to know the capital you need. So in fact, it's a whole lot of discussions that when we start today, we may not finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But agric is somewhere people can look at.
Yes, agric is an area that a lot of people are venturing into these days, because the capital outlay out there is not really that much. And so a lot of young guys are moving into it. I know of quite a number of friends who are into vegetable, farming, pepper and those kind of vegetable farming, and they are doing quite well. I imagine that you are a worker, you have a vegetable farm that is doing well for you, and you are also doing some small investments. I think at the end of the day, you should be fine.
It should be fine. All right. We've been talking about individuals a lot. Let's talk about business. Maybe just touch on one thing and then we can wrap up our conversation this morning. I want to know, usually small businesses actually face unique pressures. From cash flow to rising operational costs and all of that. What financial strategies should business owners prioritize to stay resilient in the coming year?
Well, I think it also boils down again to the planning that we were talking about. You have to plan your activity. You have to plan your operations. And because as a business person, if you don't plan, you end up doing things that are off board. And so planning and budgeting is key. You need to know the sources from which your revenue is coming from. You need to know the expenditure that you incur. And once you have that in mind, it will serve as a guide. People are running business, but they don't know the difference between profit and cash. Cash is not profit. So when they are selling a lot, they think that they are making profit. Meanwhile, sometimes they sell on credit. The probability that the person will not pay is also very high. And so I think that planning and budgeting is very key. And also, if you are coming from a non-accounting background, I think you need to get somebody that can be guiding you as far as your operation is concerned. In that case, if you make a sale of, let's say, 100,000 today, and just 20,000 is cash and 80,000 is a receivable, you will not say, okay, I've made a sale of 100,000, and so my profit margin is, let's say, 40,000. So because at the end of the day, anything at all can happen. When the person defaults, it's going to hit you hard. So I think that we need to, as businesses who are not so much, friendly with accounting, or finance, we need to get people who can assist us in that direction so that we can clearly distinguish between what is cash, what is profit, and also our tax obligations. Because, see, you can be hiding away, but one day when GRA comes, when they give you your tax liability, they will add penalties, they will add interest and all that. So we need to have people who can guide us so that we can do the right thing.
So that we can do the right thing. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe finally, what would be the role of technology in all of these? How can digital tools actually, in a way, help improve the discipline and the clarity and all the things, even helping in the planning we're talking about?
Well, I think we cannot take technology actually out of our business operations because it actually helps to simplify our operation. It actually helps to monitor your operation, especially if you want to check your stock. And I mean, it basically makes things very easy for you. And so it is always advisable that we inject a bit of technology into our operation, because what human being can do in an hour, I mean, technology can do that in seconds. And so technology is key. And once you're a business person and you want your business to flourish, and then you must spend a lot of money buying the right tools, buying the right technology, the right software to enhance, simplify your operations for you.
All right. I think our time is up. Maybe your final, is there anything we haven't touched on that maybe you may want to talk about before we go?
Well, I think we have exhausted almost all the areas, most especially those that regard to personal financial planning. And so I would just want to encourage again that don't spend before you invest. Always make sure you invest before you spend.
All right. Elson, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm really, really grateful that you made time to join us. I think it's been a great conversation. I'm really grateful.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And I'm not too sure if we're going to speak before the year ends, and Happy New Year in advance.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right. Please do enjoy the rest of your day. All right, so that was Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji. He is a financial analyst and he is with Melbourne Capital. And he joined us this morning talking about some smart money moves that you have to make before, so that you can secure your financial future when we get into 2026. And I think it's been a great conversation, and you picked a thing or two. Some of the things that he's speaking about are things that we don't quite pay attention to. So you may want to play back this audio or the video, and then you can get to make some notes out of it. Maybe you join a conversation midway or halfway. You can actually visit our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. We stream live on both platforms, so you can visit those platforms and then you can play back, because we want to see you succeed financially going into 2026. And that is why we had this conversation this morning. Please take a thing or two and try to put it into action so that you can see the fruit thereof. All right, so that's how we wrap up today. Thanks so much to Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji. He's a financial analyst and he joined us this morning for our conversation.